What is up, Hammerheads? Welcome back to the Forge. Today we are making candy canes. Stay tuned, guys. Alright guys, so while the Forge is heating up, I want to talk real quick about a tool you're going to need. And what I did was modify one of my old chisels that goes under the treadle hammer that I didn't use. And you're gonna have to heat it up and anneal it. And then I took a hacksaw and cut this groove down the center once I flattened it. So I flattened it out, got to the widest point that I could get, and then I cut it with a hacksaw and then shaped it out to roughly the shape that I wanted with the sander. If you guys want to see a video of that being done, let me know. But it's a really straightforward process. If you've made a chisel, all you do is going to keep it flat on top, cut your line, and then clean up the sides. Or cut your center out and then clean up the sides. So pretty straightforward on that, guys. We're using 1/4" round bar. I like 5/16. I think it's 5/16. Size above 1/4 to make a lot of my candy canes out of. And generally I'll use a longer piece. Go ahead and cut my grooves in, and then I will cut them up and then form out the candy cane. But we're going to make a little bit bigger one today. Alright guys, I'm just cutting a groove down the center, and because the slit in the chisel, it's going to be cutting a groove on both sides, as you can see right there. Now I'm running mild steel. This is one of those you don't want to do out of high carbon, but you want to keep it as straight as you possibly can. Let's get another heat. As you can tell, guys, I'm not going too far outside of my line. Whenever I'm pulling out, I'm leaving a little bit of my chisel so it keeps me on track. Now I'm going to go a little bit deeper with the cut in because it didn't go as deep as I wanted it to. I was being a little cautious as I was hammering because it being quarter inch, but I'm gonna go a little bit deeper on this side, and then we're gonna roll it to the other side and run down it too. All right, guys, now we move to the other side. And yes, it will flatten the material out a tiny bit, but not much on what you did on the other side. And guys, if you don't have a treadle hammer, I did this with a hand chisel for a while when I was first learning. So it'll work just as good. Just take your time with it. Use the hold down that we made in a previous video. It'll help out a ton. See, we got our groove cut in on both sides. Now we're going to go over to the vise and twist it up. Alright guys, so when you're doing your twist, pay attention to it as you're twisting it up. If one area looks like it's twisting up tighter than the rest of it, use a little bit of water in a ladle to cool down that one section a little bit so you keep everything pretty uniform. I like the look of that one. That's a good looking twist right there. get it to come up, guys. I think we can see the twist right there. Now I'm gonna clean up the end where I just cut it off, and then we're gonna make our bend. So right there's our candy cane. Very easy project. I'm gonna turn off the forge and we'll talk about what we learned. The struggle is real, y'all. This is what comes and visits me in my blacksmith shop on a regular basis. Y'all going out so you don't get hurt. All right, guys, so let's get real for a minute and talk about what we learned today. So we made a candy cane. And guys, if you want me to go into more detail about how I make the chisels that I use for these, because I really like the effect that slit chisel does, or the groove chisel, I guess is what I'll call it. I don't know the technical term. So if somebody knows the technical term of what you call a chisel like that, please put it in the comment. I don't think I've ever known that. But I like how it gives that center line kind of a raised effect, and it looks more natural, like what it would be on a candy cane. But again, guys, if you want to see that, let me know. So one of the things you learned is how to twist up round bar. Anytime you're twisting up round bar, you've got to do something to it so you see the twist. But you don't want to distort it too much and make it look like it's square stock. So putting a slit in it, flattening it just a tiny bit. I have seen where people have wrapped it a different way around, or put a piece of wire in it and twisted everything up together and then took the piece of wire off. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I like doing the chiseling in it because it gives a really cool effect. You can see it, I think, a lot better on this one. Let's see. Sorry, looking at my phone, trying to get everything angled, lined up right. We don't have the best lighting up here. But being able to do that kind of twist opens up a whole lot more doors for some really cool projects you can do down the road. Just throwing some ideas out there. If you twist up some bar like this, forge weld it together with 3 other pieces, so you have 4 total, or 5. Then you forge weld both ends, twist it up, untwist it. You have a really interesting looking basket twist. And there's just so many different kind of handles and various things you can do just by adding that one or those 2 slits down the material with that groove chisel. Couple things also, guys. You've seen me cut off a piece of steel, just like a little 1/2-inch piece. That's a sacrificial piece that you're always going to have when you're making candy canes and certain twists, because you have to clamp it. When you clamp it in the vise, that piece ends up getting distorted really bad and squared off, because I clamp it so tight, you might not. I did find, as I was straightening something up, if you have 2 pairs of tongs that can grip tight enough, you can twist the material and tweak it. I don't know if I'd want to twist the whole thing and do your whole twist that way with 2 pairs of tongs and then twist it up that way, but to tweak it, it worked really well. But I also learned that while I was cutting in the groove, I decided not to go all the way to the end and leave that little bit. Normally I would run all the way to the end and just cut off the excess. Sorry, I heard something that sounded like a hawk. I was making sure my chickens were okay. Anyways, man, it's hard doing this with ADD. You hear so much stuff. But I was running all the way to the end with my cut and then just cutting off the excess. And I thought, what was the point? I'm going to be cutting it off anyway, so I just left it alone. And I clamped that piece in my vise and then twisted with tongs on the other end, and it worked out really well. One of the other things I'll do, guys, is I will paint one of the lines of the candy cane, either red, the thicker line red, or the thinner one white. A lot of people seem to like that. It's something familiar, but I also leave them just black, and shine them up too. Really all depends on what people are looking for. But guys, that's the video. If y'all have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you know when all my content comes out. But guys, I hope y'all have a great day. God bless. Keep hammering.